Hey everybody, it's the Crypto-Anarchist here, and I'm bringing you another rant video. Oh man, today we're going to talk about something that, I don't know if autism is contagious, but talking about this might give me autism. Um, We're going to be talking about Ripple. Ripple is another blockchain application platform. On their homepage, it says it's the world's only enterprise blockchain solution for global payments. That just seems like a complete fucking lie. I know it's a complete lie because one of the guys who founded it was named Jed McCaleb, and he went and then started a new enterprise blockchain solution thing called Stellar Lumens, which is kind of the exact same thing. So once again, we've got another blockchain application platform that just lies on their front page. Like when Chainlink said they're the only decentralized oracle, they're like the statement that Ripple has might technically be true in the way that Chainlink's statement might technically be true, but there's a million other oracles out there. So there's a lot of things trying to do what Ripple's doing, but they say they're the only one. Surprise, surprise. But it's co-founded by Jed McCaleb. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Jed McCaleb was the founder of Mt. Gox, and he's actually responsible for all the hacks that occurred. Everybody likes to blame Mark Karpalez, but Jed McCaleb was responsible for the hacks, and there's actually when he sold the company to Mark Karpalez, when he was talking about all the hacks that had occurred beforehand, like with 80,000 Bitcoin that he had lost or gotten stolen from him, he said, you probably don't need to worry about it. Okay, so this is the guy that co-founded the #4 market cap cryptocurrency. Not only one, he was responsible for the first initial hack for 80,000 Bitcoin, and then he said, yeah, you probably don't need to worry about that. Is that something that you think you should really trust? And he's talking about, or the Ripple is supposed to be a payment provider between banks. Do you think banks are going to trust a currency created by a guy who is responsible for the greatest theft in cryptocurrency history? And you might be like, well, yeah, but the big theft occurred actually when Mark was running it. Yeah, it occurred when Mark was running it, but the wallet.dat file got copied when Jed was running it. Okay? And then there's a bunch of other thefts that happened to Mt. Gox, and these all occurred when Mark was still using the wallet software that Jed had implemented, that Jed McCaleb had implemented. So when Mark Karpalez switched to the wallet software, there were no more hacks of Mt. Gox. So that's the guy who co-founded the #4 market cap cryptocurrency. This is the guy you guys trust. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Second thing is this is another one. It's like ARK. It's an application platform. There is a cryptocurrency for it technically, but what is the cryptocurrency for? If you're an application platform, it's meant to use the blockchain to provide seamless transfers of payments between banks. You don't need a cryptocurrency for that. Technically speaking, you might need to have some sort of blockchain payment system, but you don't need to have your own standalone cryptocurrency. The one thing that this boggles my mind, and we'll talk about this later on, but in order to get the full functions of Ripple, you have to own Ripple. So they're asking the banks to trust Ripple and be like, yeah, put all your money in our currency that we just created. When they could have created an application, or they could have just created the application that stands alone and then had some sort of blockchain-based payment that is uses the dollar, so like a blockchain version of the dollar. But they didn't do that. Now banks would immediately accept that. They would have accepted that today, but they didn't do that. Why do you think they did that? Well, because they own a shitload of Ripple. I just don't get this. There are so many scam coins in the crypto space. This is a #4 market cap cryptocurrency. Can someone explain that to me? They could have built this application without a crypto, but they didn't in order so that they would make a lot of money from the investors into Ripple. Why? Somebody tell me, please. Going on, it requires the banks to trust the crypto and the app. If the XRP or XRP, yeah, XRP is the name of the currency. If the Ripple currency fails, then Ripple fails. So you got to trust both. Both have to be working perfectly. Again, if they would have built a standalone application, all that the bank has to trust is the application, and then because they're not actually trusting the currency, the bank does all the currency stuff on their own end. And banks are already good at that. That's what banks do. So why are you requiring banks to trust your currency and your ability to keep your currency secure when that's literally their fucking job, You could have just built the application. The fourth point, for full effect, it requires the banks to hold the Ripple. So yet you don't actually get all of the cost savings of using Ripple unless you hold Ripple. So again, why banks have more currency than anybody else? Why is Ripple's solution for their payment system? Because the payment system thing, like, that's fine, like, it's decent. Just like if you look at Arc, the idea for them having an application platform, that's fine, that's decent. But then why do you throw in this what you call a cryptocurrency, which doesn't need to be there? So if it doesn't have a function, like, how do you call it a currency? Or if it doesn't have a necessary function, how do you call it a currency? Why do you throw that in there? Okay, like, you could have just had banks hold their own blockchain version of a dollar. Okay, you could have had them do that and just build an application that would work for any sort of currency and do the, sort of payment verification and whatnot that Ripple does. You could have done that, but no, you're like, yo, we're going to also create a cryptocurrency and you gotta buy it. Yeah. I don't get it. Like, I really don't get it. And then, yeah, the final bit is because it's a crypto and an application, the team must develop both. So if you had a team that was just like, you know what, Ripple's retarded, we're just going to develop the app, then they only focus on the app. And so just by, the fact that they have to work on less, their application is going to be way better than Ripple. So why use the crypto if you don't need the crypto? And I understand someone's going to comment and they're going to be like, but you need like the dollar transacts real slowly, so you need a crypto. Well, you could create a crypto dollar. Okay, a bank could do that and they would already, like, you wouldn't have to pay for this. Like, if you had some application thing that said, hey, if you can create a blockchain dollar and you presented this to a bank, be like, create a blockchain dollar and this application will allow you to get all the cost savings that, Ripple's talking about, which can be up to 60% cost savings. So that, like, it's massive cost savings. But you could just tell the bank to develop their own crypto dollar, or you could develop the application and be like, we didn't develop a crypto dollar, but we could help you do it. And I guarantee you that bank would send you their own programmers and shit. Like, the whole point of cryptocurrencies is there has to be a point for it, guys. Bitcoin is meant to compete with the Federal Reserve. Ripple is not. Ripple's meant for as a payment solution, or like in order to clear payments between banks. So it's not competing with the dollar. It's just an add-on to it. So why did you create a competitor to the dollar in there? Like, if that's not the point. I don't understand this shit. I don't understand this shit at all. Now, going on. Co-founded by the imbecile Jed McCaleb. Now, this might be going over the top of Jed McCaleb because, to be honest, maybe if I ran a big Bitcoin exchange, I would have ran into the same problems. But I can encrypt a wallet.dat file. I can do it. Jed didn't do it, I guess, because his got copied. So it really boggles my mind when you have somebody who made a mistake that, I don't know all the inside details, and Jed has never talked about it because he forced Mark Karpalys to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So nobody ever talks about this shit, so I don't know the details of what exactly happened. So I don't know how, complex the hack was, but if the wallet.dat file was encrypted, then the hack never would have happened, and Jed didn't do it, and he co-founded Ripple. And then he left Ripple to found Stellar. So does this sound similar? We've got another blockchain application thing where the founders have created multiple ones and they just keep hopping from one to the next, from one to the next. Sounds a lot like Arc to me. It really does. Technically speaking, I think Sergey from Chainlink has created multiple cryptos. I don't even like calling these things cryptos. I don't know. Part of the reason I have trouble talking about these things is, the wording that is used in the crypto space, it's still new, so there's only so many words I can use to describe these things. I don't know what to call this thing. It has a cryptocurrency, sort of, but it doesn't need it. So let's go ahead and talk about that. It's an application, so the only purpose of Ripple is to provide instant and seamless transfers between banks. Why, oh why, does it also have a cryptocurrency? I don't understand this. It's literally there to shorten the time that banks transfer money. And so, yeah, you might look at that and be like, well, yeah, but the dollar's really slow. It takes 3 to 5 days. And it's like, you can change the dollar's form. Okay, you can have a blockchain dollar, something that uses a blockchain that represents a dollar, because technically speaking, what fiat currencies are, it's just basically like a make-believe currency. So there are rules for this make-believe currency. So all that the bank has to do is follow rules for, like, you create a blockchain that it's just numbers, and then the bank can use those numbers like they are dollars. And because it's regulated and they have rules and regulations they follow, like, you don't have to actually create a currency in order to transfer the money through a blockchain. You just have to create some sort of digital blockchain, and then the bank will say, okay, we're going to use this digital blockchain like it's the dollar. So why not do that? Because banks already use and trust the dollar. Why make them use and trust your currency? Okay, so this is what I don't get about all these application platform things. They create a currency, but they don't need a currency. Okay, Bitcoin, if you look at something like Bitcoin, Bitcoin again is a currency designed to directly compete with the Federal Reserve. Like, you have to have a currency in order for Bitcoin to do what Bitcoin was meant to do. You don't need a currency in order for Ripple to do what Ripple was meant to do. And the same thing is true of ARK. It's like they throw a currency on top of it, but why? You can just build an application that uses other currencies. Like, if you look at the smart bridge technology for ARK, you can bridge other blockchains. They already do it through things called atomic swaps, you dumbasses, but you can bridge other blockchains without introducing this intermediary currency. So why did they build the intermediary currency? The short answer is to scam you, because in order to use their application, you have to buy their currency. And it's like, okay, that's where they make their money. Why not just, build an application and then let the application run on any currency? This goes back to when I was talking about how you can compare a lot of these things to, like, the internet boom, or whatever you call it, the dot-com boom. The dot-com things that existed, or that survived the dot-com boom, the dot-com companies like Amazon, they weren't trying to create their own new fucking internet, you guys. They're just creating an application that uses the internet. So, like, why does everyone who tries to build an application in the crypto space also build a cryptocurrency? What's the point? Okay, what's the point? Can somebody answer this to me? You can do everything Ripple does with just an application that uses other cryptocurrencies, or it can actually use a cryptocurrency whose value is tied to the US dollar, and you can get the exact same thing. So why build your own crypto? Why? This is a question that I don't think anybody answers when they look at investing in these sort of things. Why? 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 So banks must trust the crypto and the app. Why the fuck would you build? This gets into more specifics, but why the fuck would you build your own cryptocurrency on top of your application, knowing that banks do not trust cryptocurrencies? They don't really like them. They don't trust them. So you could build the application without the crypto and just be like, this application will work for other payment solutions. And again, it might require a blockchain-based payment solution, but you can use that for any other cryptocurrency. So you could use it with Bitcoin, you could use it with Bitcoin Cash, you could use it with whatever. You could use it with Zcoin, Zencash, anything like that. And then you could also be like, yeah, and if you can create a blockchain dollar, it'll work for a blockchain dollar. Why not do that? Why not do that? Because if you did that, then banks would look at that and be like, okay, yeah, we like that. But the way it is now, it's like banks look at it and they're like, we have to trust your currency too? Like, why do we want to do that? Why introduce all this new risk when you don't have to? Okay. The other thing too is if the currency fails, the app fails. So since all the transactions are done in the XRP, in the Ripple's currency, if that fails, then so does the app. If there's some bug or something wrong with that, then the whole thing goes to shit. So why trust that when when you could have just done it independently? I really can't stand all these fucking blockchain apps because they're not standalone. Okay, they should be standalone. You shouldn't have to, download, like, if you're using any internet application, you shouldn't have to download a new internet with every new application you use. YouTube shouldn't have its own internet. It could, but why would it? Why would it? That makes no fucking sense, okay? I don't get it. and again, just going down to the bottom point, banks are already untrusting of crypto, so why add more fear and uncertainty and doubt to the banks who will, like, if it doesn't get adopted by banks, then there's no point to it. And all they've done by creating this cryptocurrency on top of it is added a bunch of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. You could have done it without adding all this fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, I'm not a big fan of banks and stuff, they're all controlled by the Federal Reserve, but as far as from a business standpoint, this makes no fucking sense. Um, Next point, to gain full advantage, the banks must hold Ripple. To gain the full 60% cost savings that Ripple can offer, the banks must hold Ripple. They have to. So why are you forcing banks to invest in this new, untested, this sort of very risky currency when they already have massive currency holdings? They've already got it. They've already got as much currency as they need. Why force them to get or to purchase new currency and have extra risk into their portfolio? You could make the app work for dollar holdings, and somebody's going to be like, well, but if they bought Ripple early, then the price could really rise. Yeah, but there's boom and bust cycles to everything, and banks know this, and they also, beyond just trusting the volatility of the currency, is the currency stable? Just why do you force this upon them? Why not just be like, you can use whatever currency you want and our application works for you? You could have done that. And somebody's going to be like, well, the Ripple application requires a certain type of blockchain-based currency. And it's like, well, yeah, but you could also just, build the application and be like, here, we've got a skeleton for a blockchain-based currency. You can, input whatever currency you want. And then that blockchain, because the thing about a blockchain, all the cryptocurrencies, they're a currency in their own right, but you can add a second layer blockchain on top of that, which just basically acts as a representation for the first blockchain. So the second blockchain could have infinite supply, but because it's based on the first blockchain, which has a finite supply, then it would be limited by that. So you don't need you don't need to have your own currency for all these apps you create. You can have it you can build a blockchain thing on top of it. So let me explain this a little better. So let's say you wanted to build an application like Ripple that offered this sort of instant payment solutions, and you wanted to use Bitcoin as your currency behind it. Well, the Bitcoin transactions take a while. You could build a blockchain on top of the Bitcoin blockchain and then transfer over, let's say, 100,000 Bitcoin into your company's holdings, and then you would use your other blockchain, which has faster transaction times, but on the second layer blockchain you would only have 100,000 Bitcoin worth of that currency because it's based upon the Bitcoin blockchain. So why not do this? Why not? I don't understand it. Now, again, if you were doing something like what Ripple is doing, banks wouldn't want you to use Bitcoin either. They'd want you to use the US dollar. So why are you not use, a second layer blockchain? That's what they're called, a second layer blockchain for processing your payments. Why not? I don't know. The only answer, again, is because in order to use Ripple to its full extent, you have to own Ripple, and so they're trying to get you to purchase their crypto, and they want to make massive returns. Which, again, I don't care if a bank or a company makes massive returns, but if you look at the returns that something like Ripple is trying to get, they're trying to get, trillions of dollars of returns just for building an application for banks. If you guys don't know how an economy works, you go for what is most efficient. If you built a standalone application that used a second layer blockchain that did the exact same thing as Ripple, this company would probably only reach a market cap in the billions of dollars. But any sort of company, any sort of bank would look at that and be like, okay, we're going to invest in that because it requires a lot less of our investment. Okay, so again, if it's an application, you don't need a crypto, okay? Again, the whole point of Bitcoin is to compete with other currencies, but Ripple's not meant to compete with other currencies. It's meant to be a payment solution provider. So why does it have crypto? Why? I don't understand. I don't get this whatsoever. And the last point then, you can make the app work for dollar holdings. All you need is some sort of second layer blockchain where this blockchain, it's backed by the US dollar. And Ripple could have done that, but they didn't. And if they would have done it that way, banks wouldn't have to do anything with their dollar holdings. They would just have to adopt the application. So why not do that? I don't know. Anyways, that's the end of this rant. So Hope you learned something from it.